What is up, you guys? My name is Kalyssa and welcome to my channel and today's video. So I've been wanting to make this video for a long time and it's just kind of been overwhelming because one, it's going to be a long video, two, it's very personal, and a lot of these things that I'm sharing are things that I have not shared before with anyone or with only a very small group of people. But I think it's important to share your story, and I think everyone should, because we all have unique experiences, and even if it's similar to someone else's, it just helps people know that they're not alone, and that some of the things that we maybe are deepest darkest secret isn't so weird or not normal, you know. I typed out some of the things I wanted to touch on because, like I said, this is a long video, but I wanted to do this right and make sure I touch on the things I want to. I'm still probably going to leave things out that I did not plan on leaving out. But yeah, so just please bear with me. I'm still new to making videos, but I really wanted to share this. So since this video is going to be long, let's just get into it right now. So I was always a tall kid, and I was never small or skinny or anything. I was always over the weight limit since I was born. I was also a very observant and shy child, which we'll kind of touch on as we go. So in elementary school, I had a best friend, and I remember we were in sports together and stuff, and she was stick thin, and we would go after our sporting events to McDonald's and stuff and get food, and she would order 2 Big Macs, a large fry, and a large chocolate shake, and that is the exact order. So if you're watching this, you know who you are, but I remember this order, and she would get done eating, and you could she'd turn to her side and be paper, there was nothing there. And I remember just being, one, so jealous, and also felt so why can't I do that? I felt so out of place, and I literally stood out in elementary school because I was taller than all the other kids, I was bigger than all the other kids, so I just stood out. And I am not someone who likes to be the center of attention, and that made me very uncomfortable just being in that position. And so you know, in elementary school they have those desks and stuff, and I never fit in them properly. I always felt I was my legs had to be sprawled everywhere, and I just felt so uncomfortable. And I remember this was probably in 2005. I was maybe 7 years old. I remember being in elementary school, and Drake Bell at the time was in a car accident, and he had to get his jaw wired shut. And he lost a bunch of weight because of that. And I remember hearing this story as a 7-year-old and thinking to myself, I kind of wish that would happen to me. I wish I had such a severe accident that I would have to get my jaw wired shut so I could lose weight. And I think this is an important topic, and something that I've heard some people talk about on TikTok, of people who have been overweight wishing such severe consequences upon themselves. They would literally do anything so they could lose weight. And this was at 7. This is a very young age thinking this. And I just recently figured out that I've always wondered where some of my struggles have come from, and I honestly think a lot of it is just being an observant child. I observed how I fit into the desk, how other people ate, how they acted. I was just observing this and taking this all in as a kid and thinking, wow, I stand out. I'm taller than these people. I don't fit in the desk the same way. And it was never anything that my family or friends said to me. Everyone was great. It was just things I personally observed. And so I just think that's kind of interesting. So yeah. So I just remember being so uncomfortable in elementary school. And the other thing was we had these health days. I don't know if every school had them, but we would get weighed and get our eyes checked and stuff. And I just remember other kids saying what they weighed and whatever, and me, I was just I wanted to make sure I hid that sheet of paper. I didn't want anyone to know. And I remember when I hit 100 pounds sometime in elementary school, and just thinking, I remember being outside on the playground after realizing, getting weighed or whatever, and just thinking, like, just being so sad. I thought that it was like my worst nightmare come true that I weighed 100 pounds when my friends were maybe like 50, 60, 70 pounds. I thought it was like the worst thing ever. So yeah, that was just rough. And then I did sports like since I was very little, and in 5th and 6th grade we started doing basketball, and it was year round. So there was a lot of times like where I was just like constantly being active and whatever, and my mom says that she remembers that I was out on the court and I absolutely loved basketball, but she remembers me being on the court and I was literally like, they were like telling, you know, put your hands up, and I was like trying to shrink myself to be as small as I possibly could out on the basketball court because I was way taller than everyone else. And I just felt so insecure. Although I never hated my height, I think the combination of being tall and being overweight just like meshed together in this way that I just constantly wanted to be smaller. Like my mom literally remembers me trying to shrink myself physically on the court to be smaller. When in basketball, like you should be trying to make yourself as big as possible. But I already stood out and did not want to like draw more attention to myself or make myself look any bigger than I already was. So I kind of wish that as a younger athlete that I saw more female athletes like who were tall and muscular. Sorry, my phone overheated. Anyways, what I was saying is I just wish that I saw more athletic, muscular, tall females and like understood that that is the goal, like that is what I want, because I just thought I needed to be smaller and I didn't understand fully like what I actually was seeking was to be more muscular, more lean, more athletic. Like I just thought I needed to be small. And so yeah, that's that. I was just very aware also of like what I was eating compared to my friends and stuff. Like I just remember being in the lunchroom like watching them eat and thinking about what they ate and like the quantities, kind of like I was mentioning before about like my friends eating McDonald's and just still being super skinny and small, and I thought there was something wrong with me. So then like middle school comes around. I tried volleyball 7th grade year, but I honestly hated it because there was just a lot of standing around. And so then 7th grade year, my like basketball coach for middle school convinced me to join cross country because he was also the cross country coach, and I did it with 3 of my best friends, and honestly I absolutely loved it. It was like kind of a love-hate because cross country is really hard, but I absolutely loved it. I remember I lost 21 inches. My mom was like being really awesome with like cooking like spaghetti at night and doing all these different meals to make sure I was like full and fueled and like good for practices. So honestly that was a really good time during everything. But then so I did cross country and I also joined track my 8th grade year, and I was doing basketball. And then freshman year comes along. So freshman year going into high school, for cross country you have to run more, like the miles get increased and it's a little bit more competitive. And for me, like I still had asthma. Although I had like lost pant sizes and was like doing better with running, it was still like I didn't want to focus on it a lot. I joined cross country because I didn't like doing volleyball and I wanted something to keep me in shape for basketball, and I really started to like track. I was a thrower, so cross country to me wasn't like my main focus. So I decided to manage instead, so just train and do the practices, because the races like gave me so much anxiety. I just like could not do it. So yeah, I decided to manage. So around this time I really started becoming even more aware of my body, because I was so comfortable like 8th grade year with doing cross country and I saw my body changing and I was like, this is so cool. But then it started to change more and I was just more aware of who I was. And I think the other thing is during freshman year and like 8th grade freshman year, more girls started getting attention from guys, and that was another aspect that I started noticing, like, oh well, now my friend is that's smaller than me, she's getting attention from guys. And although a lot of this wasn't actually true of like why they were getting attention, like I just equated it to, oh, they're smaller than me, they're getting attention because they're smaller than me, I need to be smaller. And it was really bad. So let me just see. So during gym class, I remember we got weighed again. I don't know why. And I remember at this was, I want to say around 8th grade, freshman, sophomore year. I'm not exactly sure. But I remember getting weighed, and I weighed 215 at this point. And my best friend, a different friend, got weighed at this time, and she's like only 5'2", which I didn't take into account whatsoever. But I remember we were in the locker room, and I again was trying to hide my sheet, make sure no one saw my numbers and stuff. And she was like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe I weigh 120 pounds. Like, this is so bad. Like, I'm so fat. All this stuff. And I just remember walking down those stairs, and like I just heard her, like I was behind her, I remember hearing her say all these things, and I'm like, I weigh 100 pounds more than you do, and you think you're fat. What do you think of me? And I just remember being so mad. I was so mad that like she thought this way. I was mad about like how I felt about myself. I was just completely like an emotional wreck. Because I weighed 215 pounds at this point. Since 6th grade, I hit 6 foot. So, I was just so mad. And, yeah. So then, because of that, I really was watching what other people ate at lunch. Like, I remember watching that specific friend and thinking, okay, well, if I want to weigh as, like, what she does, I should just eat what she eats, and then I'll weigh what she weighs, like, right? That's how it works? No. So, and we both did like the same sports basically, and I just remember like watching what she did, watching what she ate, what others ate, and just trying to eat less than them, eat just salads, eat, you know, this wasn't always the case. Obviously there's times that I ate more, but I just remember like this constantly being in my head, if I couldn't eat less than them, like what is wrong with me? Why do I want to eat so much? When really like I was just trying to eat for my body. Like I was an active person, I was tall, like I needed to fuel my body with food, and I wasn't doing that. And then that made me even more hungry, which in turn led to binging. I remember sneaking food like as a child, going into the cupboard and like grabbing those like prepackaged cookie things that's just like the powder mix, and I would mix like water with it, or just take spoonfuls of it, or sometimes I would make it like how it's supposed to be made and just like eat it raw with like raw eggs and stuff. Thinking about it now just makes me so sad. But like we as a family didn't have a lot of soda or like foods, like snack foods with like high fructose corn syrup and that kind of stuff, so there wasn't a whole lot of junk food like chips, Oreo, like that stuff was not in the house, so it wasn't things that I could just find, and like I found like weird things. Anyways, but I remember doing that at a young age, so I'm not exactly sure when like my binging and like sneaking food really started, but I remember doing it even more like in high school. So yeah, that's that. This like continued throughout high school. At times it wasn't as bad because like I'd maybe eat something small for breakfast. The school lunch was provided, and then my mom would make some kind of like casserole dinner, like some kind of like balanced meal for dinner after practice. And a lot of times I didn't have time to sneak food or binge or do these things, so it just wasn't in the picture. But other times I remember at school, like I'd get a cinnamon roll for breakfast, they had them, and then I'd get like a cookie at lunch, and just try to eat as much of those things as I could like throughout the day, and I just felt awful about doing it. So when I graduated high school, I weighed 240 when I graduated, which looking back on it, I'm like, that's not even that bad. It's not great for sure, but like I just remember feeling like I was like this monster, you know. So yeah, I weighed 240, and I decided that I wanted to do track in college. I already had decided where I wanted to go to school. I absolutely fell in love with the college, and I still absolutely love it today. Well, since I graduated, but then I found out that like they had track, and so I applied to like join the team. And you have to like make the cut and all this stuff. But so freshman year was interesting. Oh, sorry, let me go back quick. Summer after senior year, I did a lot of partying. I drank a lot, ate a lot. I worked at a drive-in that had like ice cream, burgers, all this stuff. So I gained about 10 pounds that summer. I remember being 250 going into college. So this was 2016, and my freshman year of college, being an athlete, I knew I was like, now I'm really an athlete. Like, I was an athlete, 3-sport athlete in high school, but now this is college athletics where there's even more athletic people around me. I need to be more athletic. And so I decided that I need to actually lose weight, actually go on a diet, figure out what I need to be doing. And I remember finding Obese to Beast on YouTube. And I was determined to lose weight in order to be a better athlete. So, my schedule, my freshman year, I had classes in the morning. So I started eating breakfast, but then because I had classes, I decided that I wanted to sleep in, and I ditched breakfast. So I'd have class from like 8 or 9 till about 1 or 2 p.m. And at 2 p.m., I would go to the cafeteria, and that would be my first meal. Because around this time, I slowly found out about intermittent fasting. And I wouldn't eat breakfast. I'd eat at 2, I'd have a small meal, and at 2 o'clock, the cafeteria was pretty much empty. So I was one of like very few people in the cafeteria, which meant that I could eat without feeling shame. I did not want to eat in front of people because it was this: if I get a salad, it was a joke. Because how the heck could that fat girl be eating a salad and actually be how she is? Like, there's no way that she actually eats salads like that. And then if I got a cookie, it would be, of course she's getting a cookie, that fat girl is getting a cookie, of course she always eats cookies. So I was very self-conscious about what I was eating, no matter what it was, and I'm sure that's a very relatable experience for a lot of people. So I like going at the 2 p.m. time because there wasn't that many people, and I would just go by myself. I could sit on a like high top table by myself, look out the window, and eat my food in peace. Now, a lot of times this food was like bare minimum, like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and a banana and maybe some chocolate milk. Sometimes it was 4 cookies because I had been, like, I would restrict myself so much that I just wanted anything I could get. Sometimes it was a decent meal, whatever. So I'd eat my first meal, then go to the dorm, change, get ready for practice by 4 o'clock. I'd have practice. We would train for about hour and a half, and then we would have lifting after for 1 to 2 hours. So I would get done anywhere from like 7 to 8:30, so like 3:30 to 4 o'clock till around 7:30, 8 o'clock, depending on what part of the season we were in. After practice, I would go eat. Sometimes it was with the team, but most of the time it was actually with my friend group at the time, and they were also on like a health, fitness, trying to get better. So they were all watching what they're eating, and that made me even more, okay, I gotta watch where to eat. And it made me accountable, but it also made me like restrict so much that I didn't feel like I could have a piece of cake. I didn't feel like I could have a cookie. Like, it helped me not have those things because people were watching me, but it was not good because I was barely eating anyways. Especially for the amount of activity that I was doing. I'm just looking at my notes to make sure I don't miss anything and like ramble weird. Yeah. So I would have snacks in my dorm that a lot of times I would end up binging on. So either at the 2 o'clock, my first meal, I would like binge then because there wasn't a lot of people in the caf, and if there was, like, I didn't really care as much. Like, if they saw me go get peanut butter and jelly sandwich and then 4 cookies and then a piece of cake and then ice cream and then a sandwich, like whatever, I really didn't care because there wasn't that many people. But a lot of times I was actually but most of the time it was in secret in my dorm when my roommate wasn't there. And which was nice because she actually went out and partied a lot, so she wasn't there to like see it, and it was easy for me to do. But a lot of times it was like fruit snacks, Cliff Bars, just like more. I didn't always have a lot of things to snack on. It was like healthier kind of things ish. But I remember this one time I had a bag of those frosted animal cookies, like not the iced ones, like the frosted ones, like the Animal Circus things. And I don't know, I must have got it from like Shopko or something, because that was like a walking distance from the dorm on campus. So I remember sitting down on our little futon. The TV wasn't even on. I remember sitting down, and the next thing I remember was digging around for the last cookie and like pulling it out and realizing that was the last one, and just like snapping out of this zone and realizing that I had ate this whole bag and I had no idea. Like, I had no memory of eating the bag. I completely zoned out. I was like on autopilot, and I ate this whole bag of frosted animal cookies. And I remember eating the last cookie and being like, holy shit, what did I just do? And it was really this moment of realizing like what I am doing is not good. And I also, while I was eating that last cookie, I was tracking at this time, you know, although I wasn't eating a lot, I was still tracking what I was eating. And I remember putting that bag of frosted animal cookies into like my Fitness Pal, and I think it was over 1,000 calories. I don't know if it was close to 2,000, but maybe like 1,500. And just being like, holy shit, I consumed like this whole bag, and I don't even know how much time had gone by. I wasn't even watching TV. I was just like in this zone. And that was when I was really like, okay, this is not good. And I should have realized this at other times, because I remember one of the times when I was logging into my Fitness Pal, I had about 800 calories that day, and I wanted a Cliff Bar so bad. But that was like 200 some calories, and that would put me over 1,000 for the day. And I just remember being like, I can't go over 1,000. Like, I just could not bring myself to eat that Cliff Bar, even though I was so hungry. And that's such low calories. And now, granted, I obviously was not eating that low every single day because it was a binge restrict, and sometimes I would have foods that were higher in calories. But throughout my freshman year, instead of like gaining freshman 15, I lost 30 pounds, which isn't a crazy amount, but it's within that cycle of binge restrict, of eating more than I should and then eating way less, and still being active and trying to, like, my body was not functioning properly, like on that awful diet, all this stuff that I was doing while I was trying to like perform, right? So finals week comes around, and I was so stressed about finals, and I decided, you know, I'm gonna take a break from tracking. I'd been tracking my calories like that whole year. I took a break, and I said, I'm just gonna try to stay at maintenance. I am not gonna worry about losing weight. I just want to maintain, and then I can go into the summer, and once I get home, I can figure stuff out. Well, I went home, and I went back to that summer job where there's ice cream and burgers and fried food and everything, and I gained the like 30-ish pounds. I was down just under 30 pounds I was at about 223, 225, so not quite 30 pounds lost. And at the end of the summer, I weighed 260, and I remember before, when I weighed 250, being like, I don't want to ever get past 250, like that's the highest I want to be. Like, once I'm at 260, it felt like I was so close to, like, I was basically at 300 at that point, but I didn't want to get over 250. And I remember weighing 260 going like into my sophomore year and being like devastated and like, holy cow, like I worked so hard during my freshman year, and now it's all gone over a summer. What the heck? But I was still watching Obese to Beast at this time, and other YouTube. I know I was watching like Danny Gets Fit. There's a lot of people I was watching and like taking in information and, you know, trying to figure out, because although I wanted to be smaller, I also wanted to be a better athlete, and I felt that being a better athlete meant I had to be smaller. I had to lose weight. I had to just like be smaller. And I kind of slowly, I don't know how, but I slowly figured out like this isn't helpful. Like what I'm doing is not helping me be better. It's not helping me achieve better things. I did do well my freshman year and I did improve, but I just felt like I had more in me. So I slowly decided that I needed to like have a proper diet and fuel my body like properly. And it was a long process, and it's still not where it needs to be, but I slowly just decided that I wasn't going to restrict like that. But I still wanted to lose weight. It was this weird, I still felt the urge to binge. I still did, I'll explain I guess where I'm at now, but like senior year I was still binging. It was probably like honestly worse like my junior and senior year, because I had my car there, I was on my own, then I turned 21. There was a Quick Trip down the road, and I remember going to Quick Trip so many times late at night. They would have donuts. I live in Wisconsin, so the Quick Trip. They had donuts for sale, and on like Thursdays or whatever day it was, they were like 50 cents, like half price. So sometimes I'd get like a box of Glazers, or just like the sale donuts. I would get a tub of ice cream that was $1.50. Most of the time cookie dough. Sometimes it was like an Oreo chocolate one. Sometimes they had cinnamon rolls, candy bars. I would just get whatever I wanted and sit down and eat that. I would eat about a half to 3/4 of the tub of ice cream. I would eat 3 to 4 donuts, chocolate milk, cookies, and be completely full, absolutely disgusted. And I would either wait an hour or two or sleep on it and wake up the next morning and finish it. And I was doing this in secret in my room, like doing it at night, you know, trying to make sure no one saw me, any of my roommates, like whatever. And it was just bad. So my main point of this video, with my title, Diet Culture Made Me Fat, I obviously don't blame all of it on diet culture, but I do wish that the quest to be smaller wasn't such a thing that so many people, especially women, young girls, desired. And I wish that we teach girls how to be to be athletic, to be muscular, to get under a barbell, to lift heavy weights, to jump and be athletic and be active and fuel your body properly with fruits and vegetables and protein and pasta, and enjoy a cookie and a donut every once in a while, because sometimes your mental health and the enjoyment of that donut is totally fine and totally worth it, and you need to have that balance. And I just wish that for everyone, if that's what you want. But so, and it's hard because it's such a conflicting thing for me, because I hate the whole diet culture thing, but obviously if you've watched my other videos, I'm on a weight loss journey, and it's such a conflicting thing because I absolutely love Victoria Garnick, I think is her last name, and the Sam Plan. Both of them are on Instagram. They both dealt with binge eating and restricting their food. They were both very small. They got to a very small point, and now we're at a point where they've gained some of that weight back and are at a more healthy spot with not binging, eating more balanced, and just in a good relationship with food. But it's hard for me in like following them also, because they came from a place of binging and being small and restricting so much and being like in these tiny bodies, and then now being at a more like reasonable, like healthy weight, where I am bigger. I need to lose weight to be at the spot that in that more healthy state, if that makes sense. So sorry, I need to drink water. Like, and it's difficult when trying to get away from that typical diet culture while still needing to lose weight. So that's why my point of trying to share this, because I know there are people that have the same experience that I have. One of my favorite influencers is the Iron Giantess, also known as Laura. Also Obese to Beast, his name is John. Laura went from, she was like over 300 pounds and she dealt with binge eating and bad relationships with food, and now I don't know how much she weighs, but she's like an athlete, she's certified in all these different things and like knows what the heck she's doing. I absolutely love her so much. So I've seen that, you know, going from a bigger body to losing the weight and being more healthy with it. And that's my goal, is to, I don't want to be smaller, I want to be that more athletic, more muscular, have lean muscle mass on me, but still be big and take up space. And I think Laura and also Katie Sonier, I think those two women are absolutely like the like model of what some of my goals are. So yeah, that's I guess kind of my spiel on everything. I hope that makes sense. I probably have more things that I didn't touch on or want to elaborate on more. There's probably, if you actually watch this video, you might have questions, which I'm more happy to elaborate on or go into more and whatever. So my main point of this is that everyone's story is different, and for me, although like the quest to be smaller just made this binge restrict cycle, and I ended up I binged, I overeat, and I gain weight, and that's how I'm where I am today. So my quest to being smaller actually made me bigger. And it's just frustrating because I wish I could like shake my younger self and be like, you don't need to do this, like feel your body properly and learn how to like look at macros and nutrients and the calories in a way that's like healthy and sustainable and not super crazy. And it's also frustrating for me. I have a lot of thoughts on like fat phobia and body positivity and health at every size and diet culture, and there's so many things that I'd like to talk about with that, but that can be a whole nother video. But it's frustrating because there's these two sides of people demonizing calorie counting, but then demonizing being fat, and then demonizing not being fat, and demonizing being like into fitness. And it's just so frustrating for me because I need to count calories in order to start losing weight, because I don't know exactly where my hunger cues are because I've ignored them for so long. And I need to do these things in order to be at a healthier spot, and I want to get to that healthier spot in order to help people like do it in a healthy way and take up space and be the best version of themselves that they can be like muscular and be like who they want to be. If that's not your goal, fine, like live your life how you want to live it. I literally do not care. But if you're someone who's constantly in search of being smaller and shrinking yourself, like that is not like what you probably need. It is okay to take up space. It is okay to be like fit and muscular and sweaty in the gym and not look cute all the time. And like that's just kind of what I want my message to be. And I just feel this potential of myself and my body being 6 foot and loving athletics and already having some of the knowledge and experience that I have. I just hope that I can help someone, and I just want this message to get out. So thank you for listening to this whole video. I'm sorry for saying so much and rambling and not being super like organized with how I talk and speak and editing. This video is just going up like how it is. So sorry for all the water breaks. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, leave a comment. That will help me get better equipment to do editing and make better videos. and maybe practice more and not say so much. So thank you for listening. It feels good to kind of get this out. I hope my message came across. If you have any questions or are confused or whatever, leave me a comment below. If you like this video, then you might like my Instagram and TikTok. Follow me at Kalyssafit on Instagram and TikTok. I'll leave it down below, but it's Kalyssafit. So let me know what you think, please. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace. Have a good day.